or if this were a cis dude.
Lock them all up. What are you talking about?
That's my point. I'm saying it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm saying that I don't think your identity should matter when you're doing something like this.
And let's keep it real though. When things like this happen, the gloves be off, we drag. So the fact that people are misgendering her at the same time, I don't nobody want to hear you say "don't misgender her" after she did that to a 13-year-old kid.
Nah, I think we have space for both, right?
Yeah, well, sure.
In the same way that if a black person did something awful to somebody, we wouldn't allow white people to call them niggas while they're criticizing them, right? We'd say, you know what? Don't call them niggas and drag this person. Sidney Starr should be dragged.
I'm not saying
Is that a
no. And listen, hear me out. Let me make this clear because I want to make sure that
I don't think a misgender is a slur.
If I call it,
no, misgender is absolutely a slur.
It absolutely is.
It's a slur.
It's a real
To trans people, yes, dead naming and misgendering. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying you're wrong about that part, but I do think it's different. But let me say this too.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Wait. If you not knowingly called.
No, I'm talking about. No.
It's always known.
No, I'm talking about
Okay.
everybody knows Sidney Starr. I'm saying right now,
But I don't know what Sidney Starr identifies as today. If someone just says that's a transgender person, okay, you present as this, but you
that
still,
gets to be a tricky.
Let me just make my point. What I'm saying is that if we know that somebody is a trans woman and they identify as a woman, and we intentionally call them a dude, that's what I'm saying is.
You telling me that's the same as calling somebody a nigga?
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and I had a link in the description where you can watch the clip at the beginning in full from episode 955 of the Joe Budden podcast. And I want to just be straightforward right here. Marc Lamont here, we not about to do this nonsense with you where you want to sit up here and try to use this intellectual thinking and talk and compare the struggle of black people to that of a man who wants to identify a woman, whatever name you want to give, Sidney Starr, anybody of the sort. We all know it's two things that are just straight point to the fact and direct when it comes to these conversations. You clearly have an ulterior motive. If y'all don't know Marc Lamont Hill, he was on different networks at one point in time. Joe Budden brought him over to the Joe Budden podcast, and most definitely it makes sense for the business, for a conversation. He does have a mindset and thought process, and he is an intelligent dude, but when it comes to standing on business, he's not very good at that at all, as you can see. Because let's be straightforward and direct right here, bro. Anybody that would compare black people being called the N-word to that of somebody who is choosing to call themselves a different sex, you can't change your racial identity and your racial lineage and your history and where you come from in America and your skin color, but you can change your sex. That's a choice. So to even think that you can compare those two things in any way, shape, form, or fashion, when somebody who was white, when a black person commits a crime, wants to yell racial terms, that word affects every black person. As in, that's who it's directed at. Not every black person might not feel the same way about the word. They might not be offended or it might not upset them. But at one point in time in this country, that was the identifying term for every black person here in America. Let's keep this all the way 1,000. By force, not by choice. They didn't have that option. All the way up until 60 years ago, Marc Lamont. So for you to compare this right here, you got to know you out of pocket and out of line. But I'm going to tell y'all the real thing that's crazy with it. With Sidney Starr right here. Nothing but chaos and drama, nothing positive brought to the conversation, nothing positive brought to this culture, nothing you can learn from dude or anything of the sort. Why do we even have to entertain this? You want to know why? Because people like Marc Lamont get on big platforms like Joe Budden Podcast, who has built this brand up, built his name up. You give him a mic. At times he might say things that's right, and then when he come out and say some garbage like this and it gets spread around, we got to come over here and call it out, because let's keep it 100. Multiple things can be right at once. Some things can be correct while other things are incorrect. Now, no matter how you want to slice the pie, look at it, dog. We know these two things ain't true, but I'm going to tell you what the biggest thing is with a lot of these dudes right now. The fact that they don't want to offend people because it could affect them being canceled. Let's call it for what it is. Because you know doggone well that that's a man, and that man right there ended another man's rap career because of the fact that he's a man and decides to identify as a woman, or it wouldn't even be no conversation. So I got to dumb myself down. I got to remove common sense, logic, and reality to protect people's feelings at this point in time. And then I have to downplay my ancestors' history, the pain and suffering that they went through by force with not a choice, and do that for somebody else's feelings in real time. They get to come in and put their stuff on the same level that black people in America has went through, the people that did the most suffering, people that went through the most damage and pain on this land. Never, dog. My grandmother is 97, man. My grandfather is 96, man. We ain't never going like that, and it'll never be that. Dudes like him have an agenda for the simple fact he gets paid. He's part of that side of it, of the liberal mentality over there with this let's be open-minded to everything nonsense, to the point where he still wants to play confusion when we have incidents like this right here, where a child was abused, where a child was done wrong, a child was taken advantage of by a man who obviously has some type of issues. I don't have all the facts and details of the case. I didn't even go look it all up, but I even seen allegedly, supposedly, they found the condom there. We know it was 13 or under. They said under 16 years old, so they didn't even put the full age out with this nonsense. This dude, Sidney Starr, has brought nothing positive to the game. And this is what you chose to jump out there on, because you have chosen a side in what you want to see. Hey, fam, it's okay to let your nuts hang and be a man and stand for something. I don't care how much you work out. I don't care how tough you is. I don't care if you will get out there with somebody. If you weak-minded, and you let somebody turn down your morals, your principles, integrity, and pride as a man, that's the weakest thing you can be, bro. Let's keep this stuff all the way 100. I don't care what you think you did endured in life. If you can't stand up on being a man and protecting your people and your history and everything of that nature, your lineage, who your people come from, and what you supposed to be representing as a man, then you ain't standing for nothing. You the weakest of them all. And to be clear with you, I would say this one more time so y'all get it. If it wasn't no money on the line, it wasn't no relationships on the line, dog wouldn't care about that at all. Let's keep it on all these platforms that don't want to say the real. It's simply because they feel like, hey, I could get canceled or I can lose money by saying how I really feel about certain things. I can come speak on it in an educated manner. I'm not being disrespectful. But if you born with balls and they hang, you as a man. I'm not for to sit up here and play these games with you. You have a right to identify whatever you want to as in this world. They allow you to do that. But if I know you was born with balls and you to change your name, you is what you're born as, man. I'm not finna go against God and science just to appease your feelings and emotion. Because guess what? One day you'll wake up and decide, you know what, I want to be a woman again. Tell me what y'all think. We not doing the confusion game. More coming, more videos, all that. 1,000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot. Lock in with us.